know which number, but between 5 to 8.
That's amazing. And what are you're going to?
I'm going to Disney World.
Woo!
I'm not going to World, I'm going to Disney World. I'm going to Worlds, yeah.
That's amazing. What a great accomplishment. And what deck did you play?
I played the more traditional steel songs.
Okay, let's see it.
I think there's not much to be said here. Everyone has kind of known this character for so long. It's Cinderella. She's kind of a staple. Any other steel song variant, either it's the dwarf line or more aggro approaches, you're always playing Cinderella. And feel free, if you have any questions, chime in. Then I am playing 3 Daisy Ducks.
Only 3.
Only 3. My thought process was I'm not faster than the other aggro decks. If I'm trying to be faster or just as fast as them, maybe I'll play a more aggro deck. But 3 kind of gives me a bit of that reach to kind of close out a game. I did play with 2. I wrestled with 3. Ended up going to 3. Who knows if it's the right call, but I like 3.
Okay.
Next, I am playing the Queen shift line. So a lot of people would ask, why Queen? Why not Robin Hood? For me, my understanding of the meta or expectation of the meta is that there's going to be a lot of Ruby Sapphire. I'm tired of my Robin Hoods, big Robin Hoods getting ice blocked, Seasued, Brawled, double ice block, human Seasued. So the Queen helps with that. She also allows me to have a turn 2 shift and play a whole new world.
Is that kind of like the line you're going for? You always want to just whole new world them turn 2, or does it depend on your hand?
On the play, I would go for it if I could. Didn't happen at this event. It happened once against a aggro steel song. I didn't practice against that matchup. I'll tell you why later on, but I learned it was the right call.
Okay, yeah. And then now let's just say you have a Cinderella and a Queen in your hand. What are you putting down turn 1?
Turn 1, I usually go to the Cindy.
Okay.
So what that does is, if I don't have a song in hand, when I top deck a song, it's activated. So I want to prepare myself there. If I had a shift Queen ready and a song ready, or even if I don't have a song, depending on the matchup, I could be more aggressive with the Queen.
And now, are you always trying to mulligan for a Cinderella, or are you just trying to mulligan for a 1-drop?
For a 1-drop. Daisies are debatable. Let's say I'm going second, and let's say I need to be controlling my opponent. She's more of a body and not a quester at that point. So I'll clean this up a bit. Alright, so on to the 2-drops. I am playing for Smeeze. I think he's a staple. Whenever you play a whole new world, you need to flood the board. You play the Smeeze. He has 3 attack. So not all the time he's going to be removed by some card removal from Ruby. And 2 lore for 2 ink, if anything.
Exactly. And that early in the game, sometimes you can even get more out of Mr. Smeeze.
Yeah. If anything, if you get him to quest enough, your Rapunzel are going to get you some great value.
Exactly.
So 3 Ursulas. I'm between 3 to 4. Reason why I didn't go to 4 was because I do have that tech. Credits to Chris Oyola with the Sonic Warrior Ariel. I'll talk about that later. Mm-hmm. But 3 felt like it was good on tempo. I never want to see it later on too much, especially if I'm expecting a lot of Ruby. So I think 3 was the call for me.
Perfect.
Against maybe a different meta, I could argue 4 is a nice pick. 1 Lilo.
Why only 1?
She's the, I guess like the spoiler is that she's the only set 6 card. I like 2. Against Ruby Sapphire, minimum I like to bring her back once. She never came out all of it. Not day 1, not day 2.
Wow.
Not even on board just for like hard playing. She was just inked.
You just inked her, got it.
I just inked her, but however, I do see value from like all the other lists I practice with. having one gives you the option. Sometimes you could win without her. That's why I have one. And lists where you actually kind of need her for more pressure, I could see why you run more. Then we have for Let the Storm Rage On. It is definitely a staple. It goes great with Cinderella. Especially if you're on the play, you play a Cinderella. Even if you don't have this, people respect you so much.
They'll play around it.
They'll play around it. You might not have it. It's a game of chicken. And then let's say let's say the opposing Steel Song player also has a Cinderella, and they actually have a Storm, but you don't. Just because you went first and you play it, they might not even go through that line anymore. So I could talk about what it does, but I think everybody knows what it does.
It's such a staple.
It's such a staple. Next is 4 Pete's. So I've played around with 3 for this set. Went back to 4. If I'm expecting to get hit with Be Prepared so many times, I think I need more Pete's. If I'm gonna run 3 Pete, maybe I'll run an extra Lilo, just to bring her back.
Now, when you say that you're expecting to be prepared, are you just reading their ink count, or are you reading their body language?
A little both. So when they hit to the point where they could play Be Prepared, I'm more wary. Does the board state say they want to be prepared? How do I kind of force it out of them without maybe like overextending myself? Exactly. So Pete's great. I think it's won me a lot of games. I think with Purple Steel too, I started to respect how they set up their Strength of a Raging Fire or Zeus's. So came in clutch. Next is 3 Lawrences. I was a fan of Lawrence. Maybe
just not a fan for 4.
For this list, maybe not 4. 2 kind of felt like it wasn't enough. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes I need an ink one to play an Ariel instead. And then now it feels bad when I only ran 2 and I only have 1 more. So 3 felt comfortable.
Okay.
But depending on the list, I could see 2 to 4. And the next staple for songs, Strength of a Raging Fire. It is great. Inkable when you need to. After a wheel or a whole new world, you could swarm the board, sing a song, and you remove something big. There's not too much to say. It is a staple. It costs us for 3.
Wait, now are you more hard playing it or singing it?
So I would probably hard play it at times, specifically in the red-blue matchup. I think sometimes I want my character to quest, and if I'm not going to overextend, maybe I don't need to play another character. I just need to get the board.
So now, my other question for this card is, let's just say you have the Queen Shift line and you want a whole new world, but you also have like Strength of the Raging Fire in your hand. Are you still doing it? Or are you trying to protect your songs?
That's a good question. I actually have ran into that situation a lot. If I'm gonna be able to clear my opponent's board, let's say they only played 1 character. So turn 1 I played Queen, their turn 1 they played a character, turn 2 I shift. If I knew I had a whole new world, maybe I could just pop this, and then now they don't have a character. Now they're gonna play a character. My turn, I could dump my hand, maybe sing something if I could before I wheel. Who knows, but I will wheel when I need to. But if it's a red-blue or ruby sapphire, I will try to wheel.
Got it. Okay.
All right, so on to the next card. It is 2 World's Greatest Criminal Mind. Because I'm running the Queen package, I could be using this when I remove attack power from 1 character, add it to an opposing character.
Ooh.
Now I can remove it. It's great against a lot of the big threats I'm worried about. Tamatoa,
Big Sisu,
Shark, even a Maui. It's not that common. And if it's something like a Calhoun that's bothering me, sometimes I'll do that. Or you could burn the card and it'll help with the Sonic Warrior Ariel. Next, I have 3 Gastons. So Gaston, you don't see it all the time, but I really miss when I get to keep a Gaston and a whole new world in my hand in the beginning. usually I try not to keep a whole new world. And, you know, Gaston is helpful when I know I'm going to burn out. The queen shifts for 2. You could kind of dump your hand. Gaston will survive a brawl. A lot of Ruby... Oh, sorry, I tapped the mic. A lot of Ruby decks, they want to hold a brawl. They're going to brawl your Ariel as soon as you play. But they won't brawl the Gaston unless they had a nice block in turn 1. So Gaston helps with that. Into Emerald decks, you could play him on turn 3. Then you could play an Ariel on turn 4. Now that you have the whole new world found, cast it instantly before they play an Ursula to rip it out.
Are you ever trying to just deck out your opponent by the whole new world?
Yes.
Is that like your overall goal, or are we just trying to make sure we have the best cards in our hand for the best situation?
So I tend to shift gears on certain matchups, like
Okay.
Ruby Sapphire. I'll go for the lore when it looks like I'm not going to win with lore. Sometimes I could deck him out. My top 16 match for the first game, I decked him out.
Wow.
It did affect my opponent where he even told me like he's not using Hiram to draw anymore. He wasn't drawing until he knew I was out of Whole New Worlds. Sometimes I got multiple Whole New Worlds, but I secretly put it at the bottom from Ariel. So yeah. On to the next set of cards, we have Ariel. Ariel is a must in traditional steel songs. She gives you reach to dig for songs. Great at finding a whole new world. Like I said, with Gaston, you could play her on turn 4 if you play Gaston on turn 3. And you're out of the gutters if you're able to find a weak. It really helps when they're trying to discard you and you're getting a new hand right away.
Yeah. So now let's just say because we're trying to bait out this brawl, we're at least gaining a song potentially for the Ariel. And then at least we have Gaston to like use that song if we lose our Ariel. So it's almost like we're baiting a little bit too.
Yeah.
Mind game type thing. Like, hey, it doesn't matter what you want to use. I still have a singer on board.
Yeah, like on their turn 4, if they're gonna use a brawl for Ariel, they're not playing on curve. If anything, sometimes I've seen them ink brawl because you didn't play an Ariel, and they need ink moving forward.
And now, how many times do you whiff with Ariel?
Oh man. When the deck wants to try, it'll find what it needs to.
Okay.
If it doesn't want to try, it'll whiff. So I'll say, depends on how it feels.
Okay, so just more like manifestation.
I just gotta manifest it, yeah. Alright, so let's see. Next, I'm running 3 along Team Zeus. So
Did you miss the 4th one?
I've been wrestling back and forth with the 4th one. And the reason why I didn't run a 4th one is because of Sonic Warrior Ariel. And there's times when I want 4, there's times I only want 3. It felt cluttery at times. So this ratio of 3 works with the ratio of 3 for the Ursula. You could argue 4 works great with 3 Ursula still, because I have shifts. However, I'm looking to be a bit faster, not too controlly. If I'm too controlly, I think Ruby Sapphire does it better.
Okay.
Alright, next is Rapunzel. I really like Rapunzel. She's part of a lot of other decks with Amber and Steel. Or even anything with Amber. Cost 4, pluses for 2, pretty beefy. Although her damage is pretty low, you play her for the draw power. Sometimes you don't have a whole new world, you need an alternate draw engine.
Are you ever trying to just play her without drawing?
Yes, if I need to keep the tempo going, if I need to go all gas and no brakes, yes.
All gas, no brakes. I like that saying.
Yeah, all gas, no brakes. And sometimes you're going to get some value if you just play with the queen. I did do a play where I purposely took out attack power from a different character just to power up my character. And then hit a different character to take him out, but knowing I'm going to take damage for Rapunzel.
Ooh.
And the damage I took out from that other character, now someone else could take it out. So, next, I have 1 Naveen. I like the idea of 2, however, I'm running 3 Gastons. there were times when I just saw Naveen's too many times, but I know for sure I wanted one. So I don't know if it's the right call, but with the Gastons, it felt fine.
Okay. I mean, you made it to Worlds, so
Yeah,
something was working for you with this deck.
Working. And then again, part of the Queen shift package, it's the big Queen. I talked about some of the time how I used her. I won't go into too many details in repeating, but one of the best things is she shifts for 2. So works well with other cards you're trying to combo with, like let's say you're at 5 ink, you can play a Lawrence after you shift. If you're at 4 ink, you can play Smee after you shift. But if I played Robin Hood and I wanted to shift them at 4, maybe at that point I don't have a 1 cost with me anymore. So I try to think about the curve sometimes.
Okay.
Next is one of my favorites, A Whole New World. It's just a fun card. I think it's why I play this deck. You know, I just tell myself, like, sometimes it's not me, it's the deck. This is probably it, right? I'm gonna wheel. It's either gonna hit something great or not.
And then you just have to wheel again.
Then I have to wheel again, or sometimes I need to find a wheel, and sometimes it's like, well, that's a deck. It didn't want to give me the wheel. After all these Ariels, it didn't give me the wheel. But yeah, it's helped me kind of remove Be Prepared, big Sisus, anything I saw as a threat with other color pairings. I find that the first Whole New World is very important. Usually people are trying to get cards to mess with your board. So as the game progresses, let's say with Ruby Sapphire, let's say you hit the ground running, getting a lot of lore, but they're not playing characters anymore. They're just ramping. What does that tell you, right?
That they're going for a bigger character.
They're going for a bigger character. Maybe it's a big Sisu. Be Prepared. So you know they're building into these certain cards the entire time. Now you wheel.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think the first one's important.
And now you're always also, after you wheel, you want to check their grave to see what you got rid of, so you can keep a mental track of it, so you can know what to play around.
Exactly. I think that's the big brain part. It hurts my head. But it's something you have to do. If you see they're out of, let's say, 3 Be Prepareds, you could assume
now
you
can
could go
all
wide.
gas, no wheels.
Yeah, all gas,
No brakes.
no brakes.
Oh, no brakes.
All right, and the last card, Sonic Warrior Ariel. It overperformed for me. If I were to make any edits, I would want a second one.
Okay.
Yeah, she's just popping everything, clearing the board. If it's not a Ruby matchup, they have a hard time taking it out. It actually did win me a game against Ruby Sapphire.
Mm-hmm.
A Maui Shark could not take it out. It was 1 damage off, and I played a Pete with it. So no actions, even though it got an action afterwards.
Are you always trying to shift her? Or it's okay to hard player?
In the right matchup, you can hard play her. Also in the right matchup, I will shift her right away on 4, even though I cannot use her effect just yet.
Okay. Do you have any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, I want to shout out, say, well, for sure, my girlfriend, Christine, my friends at DXN and the San Gabriel Valley, also Luxury Gaming. I know about you guys because of Chris. Great guy, you guys are great. And I think that's all I have to say about shoutouts. If I were to talk about my experience here, you guys should play what you're comfortable with. I didn't know what I was going to play. I registered my deck 4 a.m. in the morning before the event. And I did not get any reps with this for this set. It's basically my Seattle list with 3 cards different.
And it's one of them, the Lilo, set 6.
Yep, one of them's a Lilo that underperformed. So play what you like, and you know, if anything, this was more of a meta. So think about what I played, why I chose it. Could be wrong for a different event, but everything was there for me.
Okay, thanks for watching, guys.